What's going on, everyone? Dudette with Dudette Gaming, back with another Predecessor video. This is our third episode in our lore series. This is a little bit of a community event that I'm putting together so that we can build some story in and around the heroes and universe of Predecessor. If you haven't, go watch the first two episodes so you can get some context for this third episode. Anyways, let's get into it. I hear someone here can take me to the stars, Gideon said as he stood over their table. Decker and Gadget looked up at the cloaked man with intrigue, sensing a power within him that they didn't understand, yet no hostility towards them at all. They invited him to sit. Over the next few hours, Gideon shared with them all about his experience, about the unusual structure that was out in space, and the peculiar circumstances to which it revealed itself to him. He told them all about his plan and his desire to explore. I can't offer you riches and I can't offer you glory, but I can offer you adventure. At this point, Decker and Gadget were already almost sold on the idea of finding it. What seemed like only minutes had truly been hours. Gadget looked up from the table and noticed many prying eyes, as if the whole room was listening to Gideon's story. However, she began to feel a presence over her, something dark and looming. With a little bit of fear, she scanned the room, and as she got closer and closer to where she could feel this fear, it began to well up in her as almost terror. Something within her prevented her from looking into the dark corner of the room. She closed her eyes and mustered all of the courage she could, turned her head to that side of the room and opened her eyes, but there was nothing there. And the terror feeling had subsided, but she couldn't deny what she felt. As she looked around the room again, all of the eyes were off of them and back into their conversation and their drinks. They decided that they had had enough for the night and that they would meet in the morning. The following morning, the three of them converged together in Gideon's hotel lobby to disperse from there to find their respective teams. However, Gadget couldn't shake that terror from the night before. The dark, looming presence. It was as if she could still feel it even now, in the light of day, as if it was listening to their very conversation. A darkness, a presence in her mind. Gideon was going to head up the scientific team. All he needed to do was track down some of his old contacts within the hub and convince them to come on this adventure. It was Decker's job to track down the medical officers. After all, she had an old friend who used to fight in the war, who was a prominent medical officer that she was certain she could convince to come along. Gadget was in charge of tracking down the security team. She knew a man of unusual size and stature, who she figured could use a job, and she was going to find him. Gadget, feeling rather tired, decided to stop at her old mechanic shop for a quick rest. As she walked through the front doors, she saw her father's old chair that was now more worn and tired than ever. She hadn't sat in it in years. Grabbing a drink and sitting in the chair, suddenly memories flooded through her mind of the years that she apprenticed under her father, of the day that he passed on the mechanic shop to her before he died. So many good memories had happened in that place. She took a sip of her drink and put her head back in the chair as she swallowed, closing her eyes, but only for a moment. When she opened her eyes again, it was dark. But not dark like she had known, for the galactic hub was always lit. She stood up and walked towards the window and noticed a dark green light with no real source, as if it was emanating from the heart of the city itself. She turned to look into the mechanic shop, when she noticed a single light flickering within one of the ships she had been working on. She headed over to the ship, cautiously, climbed up the ladder to go inside, when suddenly she felt it again. The dark, looming presence. The terror and fear that she had felt before. It was back, and it was in her home. She froze. She couldn't move up or down. She closed her eyes and mustered all of the courage she had yet again to confront whatever this darkness was. She climbed the ladder and headed towards the room where the light had been flickering. As she opened the door, the feeling of terror became overwhelming, freezing her body yet again, as if it was taking over her very mind. She whipped open the door as quickly as she could, but before she could react, a hand reached for her face. Thanks for watching the third episode. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit more of a mysterious episode, and I'll reveal the progression of the story in the next one. Leave any comments and suggestions that you have for future videos, and I hope to see you guys in the battlefield. Peace.